Welcome back to All the Smoke. Day 2 in our new building. It's still pretty naked, but we just met with the designer this morning to get some final touches. It's going to come alive, trust me. Jack, I was really excited about this one because, one, first of all, I have a lot of respect for what he's done to this space and the longevity he's had. But also, I've been outwardly, what's the right word I can use?
Critical.
There you go. We're gonna roll today. I could tell you're already finishing my sentences. I've been critical of sometimes some of his critiques, but you know me.
Yeah.
I'm someone that wants to learn and have conversations about people that I may disagree with, or stuff like that. So before I pick my bone with you, Mr. Bayless,
Yes,
I
sir.
want to really give you your flowers for what you've been able to do. I really got a chance to kind of study up on you and your journey with your family, and just kind of the way you grinded to the absolute top of this business. If there is a Hall of Fame for this, I'm sure you will be in it one day. But really just what you've meant and the inspiration you've been to a lot of people. You gave Jack his first opportunity, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But really just wanted to let you know, now that you're officially kind of off TV, still in the game, but off TV, that we really appreciated everything you've done in this space.
Honored by everything you just said. Much respect for you and the man to your right.
Oh my God.
I've been on TV with both of you, and I'm looking forward to being in your space with both of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I hand flowers back to both of you because you have blazed a new trail, and I'm in awe of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first heard about it, I thought, interesting, because you both have wisdom and edge that you brought from many, many years of playing on the edge, and you brought it together here. It's a great pairing, and you broke through, both of you, and you're on the rise and rising, and you haven't seen the top yet, and you should both be congratulated.
Thank
because as players, you both had to fight your way up.
Mm-hmm.
That man went, where'd you go? Australia, Dominican, where else?
Mm-hmm.
Venezuela,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Just to get to the league.
Yep.
And you did your G League
Mm-hmm.
time, and then you both broke through in the league in different ways, in different places. And then you recreated here. And this is more successful than either of you ever were to me in the league.
No question.
Yep.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Skip.
And
Appreciate
fire
it.
away.
Let's get to the shit now. So obviously, again, you guys changed the dynamic with debate TV, but I felt like kind of like the last 3 years, and where I kind of was outwardly, critiquing as you would critique, was I kind of felt it went from critiquing the game, it went poor play, shitty team, to personal attacks. And two people in particular, I felt kind of it got personal at times, was with Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. From your experience and understanding who you were, your role, how you really found your niche, and again, assailed to the top, what at one point I felt like there was a line. Again, it was critiquing because that was the job, and then I felt like the line kind of got erased and it was more personal attacks. Can you kind of address your thinking during that and reasoning, or the way you looked at it?
Okay. We got to go one at a
Yeah.
time. They're
Take your
both
time. I
very
loaded it. Yeah.
different situations
Yeah.
and circumstances for both of those players. Do we
Mhm.
want to start with LeBron?
Whoever you would like to.
Okay. I say what I see,
Mm-hmm.
and I still believe to this moment, LeBron has been the most overprotected superstar in the history of the game. I have thrown him many, many, many flowers when it's time to throw flowers.
Right.
I have constantly, consistently, though nobody wants to hear me do this, but I've said to this day, to this moment, he's still the best passer in basketball. On a nightly basis, as I always say, I watch every dribble of every game. He will take my breath away twice a game with a pass he'll make where I'll say, that's just special. That's a gift. He's a generational passer of the basketball. And I've said 1,000 times, sometimes to that man, he is easily the greatest driver of the basketball I've ever seen, because he's ambidextrous at 6'9", whatever we give him now, 260-ish. And obviously an explosive athlete with the highest IQ in basketball. It's somewhere between him and Magic with the highest IQ ever to me. That's just me, and I know that's pretty subjective. I frame all this with the positivity, and obviously what he's done off the court is stellar. It's not Ali, but in this day and age, it's close. We know all the racial social justice, what he just did with Kamala, highest marks. Okay, so now we take this man who is the greatest scorer in the history of this game, and let's start with this. By his standards, he's a poor three-point shooter, and by his standards, he's a pathetic free throw shooter at 74% for his career. Jordan was 84%, Magic, Bird, they're 90-ish%, KD 90-ish%. There have been so many flame-out moments for LeBron in his career. And remember, on TV, I was often thrown up against Shannon Sharpe, who loves LeBron like a brother. I mean, like a stalker, if you know the truth, right?
Nah, it's a little scary.
I mean, it got a little scary for me sometimes.
It was scary.
All right? But he's just proclaiming LeBron better than Jordan. Well, I'm the biggest Jordan fan in his.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm right there with you.
Okay. Like I get goosebumps talking about Michael Jeffrey Jordan because I got to know him. I was there in Chicago in '98 for the Last Dance season. Listen, this man he's in another universe to me from LeBron bleeping James.
Right.
So if you're going to compare them, I'm going to say Jordan never had any epic fails in anything he did in the playoffs, even when they lost, when he didn't have Pip yet. He'd score 63 in overtime at Boston, and Larry Bird would say, I just saw God in sneakers. You know, like, okay, all right, so that's the framework of what I'm doing. Again, do I hate LeBron? I don't know LeBron. I'm actually happy I don't, because I'm afraid if I were around him very much, I think he's a really good guy, a really nice guy. Sometimes nice to a fault, because I was around Jordan a lot. Not a nice guy all the time. He was a bad MF, man. And he wore it on his sleeves. And when it was time to be a bad MF, he scared the hell out of the rest of the league. I don't think LeBron scares the hell out of the rest of the league, because I think they all really like him. And he wants to be liked to a fault.
Can you give us your reasoning behind the Westbrook situation?
Okay. So this runs deep for me.
There we go.
And there is some personal here, I will admit.
Okay.
I was a Kevin Durant fan since he was at Texas.
Okay.
So I was on a show called Cold Pizza in 2004 in New York City. I start watching this kid from D.C., and I say, this is something, man. This is going to be revolutionary. He looks like he's 7 feet tall, and he's long, and he can shoot the hell out of it from mid-range. I mean, shoot the hell out of it like he's shooting little free throws, you know, like it's gimmies where nobody can touch it because he's shooting it up so high that you tried to defend him.
Ain't nothing I can do.
Hey, there's no, you can try. What are you, 6'8"?
6, yeah.
Okay.
On a good day.
So you can go up as hard and as high as you go.
Don't matter.
Right on time. You can time it perfectly. You can get as high. You can hit your apex of reach. And if he goes up correctly, you got no shot. Because it's over you. And he's too damn good at what he does. And he works hard at it. And he shoots a billion shots. He's just one of those guys. He just loves to be in the gym. He's a gym rat. And he loves to practice 15 feet, 14 feet, 13 feet, 17 feet. Automatic. So I'm watching him at Texas, and he's already a man among boys, and he's playing against some kids who are 20 years old, 21, 22. And I'm saying, wait a second, this is going to revolutionize.
Right.
So I start saying it on Cold Pizza. I'm on with Woody Page and Jay Crawford. They are laughing at me on the air, like, stop it. It's way too soon. You're overreacting. Then we had Bill Self on, coach at Kansas, obviously. And Jay Crawford, our moderator, is interviewing him. It's not on with us. It's just Jay and Bill. And Bill says, could I take a left turn here? I'm paraphrasing how he said it. But he said, I just wanted you to tell Skip he's right about Kevin Durant because we can't deal with him. Kansas couldn't deal with Kevin Durant. Okay, so he winds up in Seattle. But then, okay, I'm from Oklahoma City. So he plays a year in Seattle, but they wind up in OKC. I never in my life could have imagined my hometown would have any pro sport, especially an NBA team of magnitude, because they land in Oklahoma City and they got KD and Russ and James. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You have 3 Hall of Famers there, and you got Serge. I don't know. It's like you got to deal with. You had to deal with it.
It was tough.
Okay. So right away, what happens is little brother starts taking more shots than big brother. Russ starts taking more shots, and he's a UCLA guy. You're a UCLA guy, but I didn't see Russ coming at UCLA. He stayed for 2 years, and I watched him in the playoffs and the March Madness and finals, the NCAA finals, or the Final Four. And I don't know if you did, but I couldn't see it coming. I didn't see this coming, right?
No.
Because go back and look at what he was averaging, like 6 or 7 points.
Coming off the bench at times.
Just coming off the bench. And he didn't even catch my eye, right? It's Kevin Love and Collison and who else, like.
That was a good team.
It is a good team. Okay. So night after night, I'm watching my Oklahoma City Thunder, and Russell Westbrook is taking more shots. I just go back and show you the numbers. He's taking more shots than Kevin Durant. I know Kevin's the most efficient scorer we've ever seen, but still, I'm saying that's not right.
Right.
And so I start to criticize Russ for taking more shots. Now I'm on First Take. And Kevin didn't like it because it was bad for their unity, for their camaraderie, for their chemistry, because
even though you might have been right,
okay,
it was bad for the team.
It was
everybody
bad for
in the
team.
world know that though.
Okay,
if Russ and KD on the team, KD should be taking more shots. That ain't no shot at Russ. It's just common sense.
Right. So KD one evening before a game, he calls over the reporter from the Oklahoman who covers the team, and he says, "I got something for you," and he blasts me, and they put it in the Oklahoman, and then I have to go on TV the next day and defend myself because Kevin said, Skip doesn't know shit about basketball. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I actually do. And what I'm saying is completely true and fair. Kevin, I'm your biggest fan. How can you do this to me? Well, I didn't matter to Kevin, but Russ really, really mattered to Kevin.
He didn't want no division in the locker room.
Okay, so God bless him because you would have done that. You would have done that.
Yeah.
Because in the end, all that matters is that basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, Kevin chose to leave Russ, and I was told by somebody very close to Kevin Durant, the main reason he left OKC going into his 10th year, that was 10 years, that's a long time. He left because, this was the quote I was told, he finally decided he'd never win with Russ as his primary decision maker because Russ is dribbling the ball up the court, and it's like Russ gets to choose every time. Near you. Because Kevin's usually just over there like, can I have it?
Yeah.
No, I'm going solo. And sometimes he'd get to the rim and slam it, and you say, my God, that was spectacular. And sometimes the ball's flying into the 9th row, and you're saying, poor Kevin Durant. And he finally said, you know what? You can shame me all you want to shame me. I'm going with those guys because I'm going to go get me a ring. And did he not do that? Did he not rise and shine in 2 straight finals and take the finals over? I loved it because they knew, Steph and Clay and Draymond and Steve Kerr knew full well they were not going to beat LeBron and whoever was left with them. We didn't know about Kyrie at that point or Kevin Love, but there was no way that they were going to beat LeBron without Kevin. And Kevin tilted the playing field, man. He just like now he's too good. It's not that Steph's too good or Clay's too good. Kevin, that guy you tried to guard and did you did the best job on him, seriously, I've ever seen anybody do over, 6 games?
Yeah. 6 games.
Okay. Because he's just going to wear you out mentally and physically because you can give all you want. But that's the best I've ever seen anybody do on him.
Yeah.
Because nobody can deal with it.
Yeah, nobody. I agree with you on certain things, too, about LeBron and clutch moments and the Russ situation. But, I don't see – I can see how some people take it personal. Me, I think I'm Russ's biggest fan. I talk about Russ more than everybody.
Yep.
And, I'm high on Braun, too. But sometimes people got to understand not to twist where they easily twist your words, but if they just look at the play and talk about the game, a lot of things you're saying are true. A lot of things you say about him are true because when you're talking about the game, when you're not making it personal, when it's about the game, you watch the game, a lot of players feel the same way. We think Bron should take over sometimes in games. Like I remember one game he passed it to Kyle Korver.
He did.
For a 3. You know what I'm saying? And I got on Instagram and said the same
well.
thing. Like, Bron, you got to take that shot. It's not a personal shot at him, but me, if I was on that team, I would have told him, bro, take that shot. I don't care if I'm open. You got to take that shot.
Absolutely.
So a lot of stuff you do be saying just for your side, I agree with because as a basketball player, you want those stars to make those plays.
Okay.
Do you have a photographic memory? You just fucking love it that much? Do you study it that much?
I live this.
You were giving
I live it.
the Friday night game 3. I'm just like,
the time on the clock.
You said, do you remember something? I'm like, fuck no, I don't remember none of that.
I mean, Jesus.
He was on. I love it. That's a hat
down to a T.
Like I said, he remembers it.
Fight fans, we got an absolutely insane matchup between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul coming up. All the smoke will be in Dallas for the fight, and I can't wait. And if you're looking to get even closer to the action, my partner DraftKings got you guys covered. New customers bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings app now. Sign up using my promo code. Use the bonus bets and choose whether you think the fight will be a knockout or go the distance. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
This episode is presented by Coors Light. Choose chill.
Go to CoorsLight.com/smoke to get Coors Light delivered straight to your door.
Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
The holidays are far from perfect, but that doesn't mean we have to lose our chill. Let's face it, hosting in-laws can be a lot, and you know what the house gets like when the kids are not in school. The holidays can be hectic, but with Coors Light, you don't have to let the holiday ruin your chill. During the holiday craziness, I always make sure I keep my fridge stocked with cold Coors Light. I like to enjoy an ice-cold Coors Light while I'm watching sports with the family. After a long day at work, there's nothing better. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, for a smoother finish. When the mountains turn blue, you know it's ready to drink. When you embrace a chill mindset this holiday, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a cold Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Rockies. Choose chill this holiday and reach for a cold Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with CoorsLight.com/smoke or find it pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Fall is a perfect time for comfortable clothing. No one wants scratchy, stiff workwear while they're on the move. And if you're like me, you want to look good without thinking about it. That's why I partnered with Rhone. Rhone's commuter collection is the most comfortable, breathable, and versatile set of products I've seen. Rhone also has premium pieces to elevate every occasion. We're talking about the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, and blazers, all boosted with functional performance properties. Each piece from Rhone's commuter collection is made to coordinate and layer to elevate every look. The collection also features a wrinkle release technology and is 100% washable. With the newborn, I can't spend too much time picking out my outfits, but with Rhone and the commuter collection, it allows me to be ready with every situation. Building mental fitness is vital to everyone's success. That's why Rhone is proud to partner with the NBA and the Kevin Love Fund. Together, they are opening up discussions around mental health. Head to Rhone.com/smoke and use promo code SMOKE and save yourself $20 with your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to Rhone.com/smoke and use code SMOKE. It's time to embody your most confident self.
Question. I mean, obviously being in this space for such a long time, when did you realize that your words really started to carry weight and it really kind of, whether it was a positive or a negative, it really kind of had people talking? At what point in your career?
I take what I do like crazy seriously. I'm obsessed with it.
Mm-hmm.
To this moment, I'm more obsessed than ever, as I just demonstrated.
Yeah.
But off camera, I don't think like that.
Okay.
Like I'm important or my words carry weight. I don't know. It started in 2004 at Cold Pizza when I would be shocked when Bill Self would take a detour on live national TV and say, hey,
You're right.
Skip was right about Kevin Durant.
Right.
And I'm thinking,
Holy shit.
Bill Self knew that I said that about
Right.
Kevin?
Right.
That's interesting.
Right.
Because I actually covered Bill when he was a coach at Illinois way back when, and I know him a little bit, but he's really good at what he does. I know they've had some issues and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but he's just really good. So if he said that, he knows basketball, and he knows that I know basketball. So that had gravity to me.
Mm-hmm.
That had foundation to me, where I said, okay, people are listening, watching, taking me more seriously than I take myself because I'm just spilling because I'm a fan. Nobody loves the game you played more than I do. Nobody. Trust me on this. I just spill it every night. Like tonight, I already looked at the schedule. I'm going to watch. I like the Thunder way more than I like the Westbrook, Durant, Harden Thunder. They were hard to love for me just because Russ and then James, and it was just
a lot of different personalities.
Hey, this thing, what they got going right
Tough.
now, hey.
Tough. And if they got an unprotected pick next
They
year,
do.
right? Is it
Yeah.
the Clippers unprotected?
Yes. They do.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been so hard over the last 20 years on white American centers being taken in the lottery. Anybody 7 foot and above who's white and American, I can just show you chapter and verse. They're disasters. You know what? You know why? Because they're classic stiffs. They're just all they got is that they're 7'1". That's all they got, but they can't play basketball. I can do a whole long list of those. But the one I got, I just did on my podcast this week. Do you remember Myers Leonard?
Oh, man.
Okay, all right. So did you cross his path?
Yeah.
Okay, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the one where I got in trouble at ESPN for saying on draft day, because the rumors were he was going to go late lottery. I said, no, bad idea. Really bad idea. And I used on the air because he's white American. Now, if the Euro Centers, you know, Joker, and we can just go on back to Valanciunas and all the way back to Sabonis's dad and all those guys. So the point is that the white American centers have been disasters until I saw this video, 2 years ago, of this kid up in Minneapolis whose father played at Minnesota and was probably a white stiff at Minnesota. But this kid named Holmgren, he could jump, like quick jump. And he was long and like beanpole skinny, but he could run.
Yes,
I mean, he can run. And his shot is textbook, pure stroke, like pretty stroke. Like you couldn't teach your kid to shoot it much better than he strokes it from three. And he shoots it like he means it with conviction. And I'm saying, hey, that kid can play. And the Thunder wind up with him. And listen, he's off to a rip-roaring start this year because he went to Joker on opening night at Denver and busted his ass.
Yes, he did.
He did a number on him.
With, I mean, as great as Wemby is, and obviously we don't know the future, but we had a debate with Kendra Perkins, and can you possibly see Chet being just as good, if not better, than Wemby?
Yeah.
And obviously they both have long, great careers.
To your point. Careers. But Chet outplayed Wemby the other night, and then Wemby plays at Utah last night, and they haven't won a game, and Markkanen didn't play, and Wemby puts up fives where he's got five steals and five
Chet's on a better
blocks.
team. Chet got a better team.
Well, obviously. Well, I mean, and yet, I'm going to do this with you just real quick, because I've long been a Spurs fan back to George Gervin because his finger rolls and all his magic at the basket. I was mesmerized by the Iceman, but I can't wrap my arms around Pop. I just can't. You had your issues.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like Belichick to me with Brady. I think Pop was in large part a product of Tim Bleepin Duncan, because Timmy was such a great locker room leader like Brady was, that Pop could be old school, tough, and hard ass and all that, like Belichick. But Tim would tell everybody, "It's cool, it's cool. Just tune it out, or whatever. We're going to win a whole bunch of games." And obviously, he had Manu and Tony. But remember, Pop used to say, "When Timmy walks out that door, I will be right behind him." Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That was 8 years ago, and Pop signed for another 3 years because that was bullshit. That's what that was.
Right.
And people swallowed that bullshit from Pop. And ever since Timmy walked out that door, show me what Pop has done. Do you see the GOAT coach? Because I don't see it. And with Wemby last year, he ran away with the blocks lead. He crushed Chet in blocks last year. And he was, obviously, by the end of the year, he was extraordinary. And they only won 22 games, and they're not off to a great start this year. And you say, Chet's got a better team. Sure he does.
Yep.
I mean, they're just loaded. They're like 10 deep. But the Spurs have some talent on that team, and I don't see it reach any fruition. And I'm wondering, how long's the honeymoon for Pop?
Well,
right?
What I will say about that is, if you look at the coaching staff when I was there, with Mike Brown and Coach Bud, they both went off to have great careers and great coaches in the NBA to this day.
Okay.
So I would say Pop is not a great basketball coach.
Good. I'm with you.
He's a great leader of men.
All right.
Because for me,
You're gonna take some heat for that shit.
but that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine because he had great coaches up under him. I think Pop is a great leader of men. You know what I'm saying? Putting guys in the right position. A perfect example, I would say this. If I didn't go to San Antonio at the beginning of my career, I wouldn't learn how to be a professional.
I understand.
I wouldn't learn how to be a pro.
I appreciate that.
I wouldn't learn how to prepare, and that's what Pop does.
Okay.
He makes everybody buy into a championship idea of what should happen, what a championship team and organization should look like, and he brings the right pieces around. That's why he had Mike Brown. That's why he had Bud News. That's why he had PJ Carlissimo. All these guys. He even brought Sam Presti in. Look what Sam Presti's doing in OKC. So he's good at bringing the right people around and leading men together.
Were you afraid of him?
Not at all. I'm not afraid of nothing but God.
Okay.
I was not afraid of him.
Because most guys are afraid
and
of
I
him.
challenged him a lot. I challenged him a lot
did.
because a lot of the things he was doing, it wasn't because I wasn't a good basketball player. He was trying to make me a mature man, right? Being in games and mad because I didn't get the ball or something like that and arguing with my teammate, that wasn't the winning way in San Antonio. So he was trying to raise me as a man. I didn't understand it at the time.
Okay.
You know, I thought he was just picking on me.
But you fired back at him enough times. He finally said, that's enough.
I had enough.
Yep.
Well, actually, he didn't give me my big contract after we won the championship. That was his way of saying, I'm in control. You know what I'm saying? So things like that'll bother you with Pop. But as a leader, I don't think you're going to find a better leader.
I appreciate that. R.C. Buford, you played around and under him as the GM of that team.
Yep.
I'm going to remind everybody, R.C. Buford did not play basketball. He was a walk-on college football player at Oklahoma State, and he talked Larry Brown at Kansas into letting him be a gopher on their basketball staff. I don't even know how that started, but it did. Mm-hmm. And that led to one thing after another, and he winds up in San Antonio, and you can make a case he was the greatest builder of a dynasty we've ever seen because it's pretty easy to take Tim Duncan, but it wasn't easy to take Tony Parker at the end of the first round, and it was definitely not easy to steal Manu Ginobili at the bottom of the draft, right?
Yep.
And it was not easy to go steal Kawhi Leonard from Indiana for George Hill. Mm-hmm. Remember, it was basically, that was the trade.
Yep.
It was George Hill in the 17th pick, and you get Kawhi. Really? You got Kawhi Leonard? That's how you build a dynasty. So was Pop not blessed to have R.C. Buford, right? Okay, so it all came together. But ever since Timmy walked out that door, I'm not seeing a whole lot from him. I'm not seeing special where there'll be a night I'll be watching Wemby and I'll say, you know what, they got something cooking here, because strategically they know how to play defense or whatever. I don't see any defensive commitment. And Wemby is still taking way too many threes. He's shooting 23% from three, and he's got a beautiful stroke, but it's just like he's 7-4. Are you really 7-4? I don't want him just standing out there all the time taking 8 threes a game. Mm-hmm. He took 13 last night at Utah and made 4 of them. Way to go!
But what a lot of what Pop lacked, Tim Duncan picked up on, like you said.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. A lot of stuff, like they worked hand in hand. So it's definitely, everybody knew it wasn't going to be the same once Tim walked out that door. We all knew that.
You were in that locker room with him. Was he not as powerful a quiet force as there ever was?
By far.
Yeah.
By far. He
ran
everything.
Didn't say a whole lot. You just knew.
Yep. And he set that tone that you had, that he demanded that respect. You know what I mean? And I think that's why they had so much success, because if you got that respect at the top, it's going to trickle down and everybody's going to buy in.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of organizations where you never know who the owner is, and everybody's not buying in. You got coaches with their own way of doing things. You got coaches talking behind each other's back. That don't happen in San Antonio. Everybody's buying in. They're on the same page. That's the only way you have that much success.
Okay. You said it. I didn't. You said not a great basketball coach, right?
No, he's a great leader, though.
Your point about leader of men is
but he's
strong.
That's why he's not a great basketball coach. He's a leader because he comes from a military background. Am I right or wrong? Mm-hmm. Pop comes from, so that alone, being able to put people in the right place and to lead guys, and that's not easy as you think. He's not an expert. That's why he had Bud. That's why you see the coaches that lead from him Ime Udoka. All these coaches that leave him become great coaches on their own because they were great coaches under him. You know what I'm saying? He was just leading them and putting them in the right positions.
It's a good quality to have, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a great leader, probably the best leader.
Who was the strongest coach you played for? The most powerful force in the locker room? Somebody you really looked up to?
Phil Jackson.
Really?
Quietly. But I only got a year of him, and I got the end of his run.
Which year was it?
10 or 11.
Okay, 11.
Where he announced he had cancer and he was going to step away from the game, but the aura of his presence was strong. You know what I mean? And I came in the year they had just won 2 and we were going for a 3-peat, and not hurt myself and towards the end of the playoffs. But the trust he instilled in you, if you put you out there, he trusts you. He's not going to be a coach. I mean, we know he's not up there screaming and doing all kinds of shit. When he puts the guys out there, he trusts them and he allows you to play through mistakes and makes mistakes. And he wants you to figure it out on the court. And
he's not a timeout caller.
Yeah. So I really, and I got a chance to play for, a lot of good coaches, but I think Phil is the one that jumps to the top as far as, because I'm really mental too. I love the mental side of it. And yeah, absolutely. When I tore my knee, he was calling me after the game. He's like, "What'd you see out there?" And I'm like, "What the fuck? Who is this again?" This is my coach asking me what I saw with Kobe and Big Drew and Powell.
Really?
So yeah, it was interesting.
Well, because he respected your acumen, your view, your knowledge, your eyes.
Yeah.
So did you ever challenge him?
I didn't need. There was no need to.
All right, we interviewing you, Skip. Don't start that.
I'll just.
I'm
don't start.
fascinated.
No, I'll say the reason why there was never need, because the way he talked to Kobe set the tone. He wasn't going for Kobe shit, and Kobe wasn't going for his shit. But the fact that he could say that to Kobe made everyone else just like, well, shit, if he's going to say that to Kobe, what the fuck do we have to say?
Well, he ripped him in a book before
that was before,
back.
But in person, and the way him and Ron Artest used to go at each other was hilarious. Oh, my God. They would talk real shit. Ron started talking about Phil's feet one time and how fucked up they were, and then we lost. Well, go ahead.
Well,
2007. What did you see in Stephen A. to give him a shot?
Okay, we go way back before that.
Okay.
First time I laid eyes on Stephen A. Smith was at the United Center, the house that Michael built, 1998. I'm at the Chicago Tribune covering the Bulls. Philly was in town. Stephen A. was covering, was it Larry Brown's team at that point? I think it was. Covering the Sixers for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And he came in the media room before the game, and he was suited and booted, coat and tie. Sports writers didn't wear coats and ties. And I was impressed because he was trying to send a message. I'm legit. I take this very seriously. I'm here to do a job, and I'm dressing appropriately. He later told me that Larry Brown was the one who suggested, well, why don't you, because I'm going to wear a coat and tie, you should wear one too. And Stephen A. didn't have coats and ties, and Larry, I think, hooked him up at a mall, at a shop in a mall where he had some discount or something so that Stephen A. could go buy enough suits to last through a road trip. So that impressed me. Then probably 2000, we're here in LA now, but there was a network pre-FS1 on that same Fox lot, not too far from here, called Fox Sports Net. And Jim Rome had an afternoon show, a TV show called The Last Word. And I don't know how this happened, but fatefully, we got paired on a show with Jim as the wingman. So Jim would sit in the middle, Stephen A. over here, I'm over here. Jim would throw up a topic and we'd start going at it. And right away, I just liked him. And we clicked and connected off camera because he started to A, respect me, and B, trust me in ways that me coming from Oklahoma City and him coming from Queens was a 1,000,000,000 shot. But we just clicked, and we had newspaper hearts, sports writer hearts, so we come from the same business, and he respected my ability to write, and I definitely respected his ability to report. And all of a sudden, Jim Rome is saying it's like watching a tennis match where his head's just on a swivel. Boom, boom, boom. And Stephen A. would let me go hard at him. And he's got a huge ego, bigger than my ego, which I love about him because that's who he is and what he is. That makes him Stephen A. Smith. I love that he called himself Stephen A. Smith. That was just a cool name to me because Steve Smith, it's not that great. We know some Steve Smiths, and it's okay, but you're not going to be quite as big unless you're Stephen A. Smith, right?
Smart branding.
It was brilliant branding, but I could go hard at him in ways that there's no way he's going to let anybody else go at him on camera, on air, because he knew in the end I still had his back. And we can go hard about a basketball topic because that was his forte. I'm football, basketball, whatever. But it's mostly basketball. And it would be explosively great to watch. And we both knew it. And it wasn't like it was contrived. It was real. It was natural. We just naturally disagreed on just about everything. So Jim got in a contract snafu and left. And they wanted us to replace Jim with a show PTI had just launched. It was maybe 3 or 4 months old, obviously on ESPN. So they wanted a PTI-esque show with edge. That's how they proposed to us, with edge. And a producer who's still a close friend of mine and Stephen A.'s named John Johnston came up with the title Sports in Black and White. Okay, This is 2002. So we're way ahead of our sort of time. And we did a pilot, and we did it sort of PTI.
Just you two?
Yeah, just the two of us going back and forth with a guest that we brought in just for the pilot, Ray Mancini, the boxer. George Greenberg ran the network, came flying out of the control room when we finished and said, I could put this on the air tonight. Okay, so we're starting to talk to John about moving to LA, and we're going to launch. This is a long time ago. This is 22 years ago. So this would have changed history. And it ran up the flagpole to the top, and I'm not going to name names, but somebody way upstairs said no to Stephen A. because he was just too edgy for them at that point. And I'm like, he's not edgy. It's just, he's a showman. He's people don't take it that seriously, that like they're not going to overreact to it, that they'll love it because that's what you want. You want this kind of edge. I'm edgier than he is to all the questions you ask me because Stephen A. doesn't take it quite as seriously as I do, but we're a great clique. Okay, so we got left at the altar on that one. So when I got to ESPN, Cold Pizza, we started to overlap. He was doing Quite Frankly. We were both based in New York, so we would be on each other's shows. And then his plug got pulled, and then they took us up to Bristol and rebranded us First Take. We had about a 3 or 4 year run where Stephen A. got pushed out the back door in Bristol. I mean, they did not renew him, and I don't know, you'd have to ask him the real backstory. But he came out here to Fox Sports Radio, and he was here for 2 years. And you can ask my wife about this. He would call me every day and say, can you get me back on the worldwide leader? And I would beat on every door in that building. You can ask them all if I didn't just keep saying, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. He's gifted. He's a force. We got to get him back here. And finally, I think it took 2 years. They imposed their will on him, because he was too full of himself, I guess, and made him sort of crawl back, if you will. And they let him ease back in on New York radio and writing for New York ESPN.com. I was just ashamed of it. But I kept fighting because then I was going solo on First Take with a rotation of guest debaters. We had all kinds of people coming in, Jamel Hill, Michael Smith, and Two Live Stews, and Chris Broussard was in the mix, and we had all kinds of different people coming in. And we had a run in the Tebow season, which was 2011, where we were just rating through the roof. But at the end of that season, I told Jamie Horowitz, who was our showrunner, they would let us have Stephen A. once a week for one segment at the top of the second hour, and that was it, because he was still being punished or whatever. And I said, just get me him. The rotation's fine, and our ratings are great, but I need him daily where I can wake up thinking, I got him. Because that's where you don't lose any sleep, because I got a new opponent, so to speak, the next day. I wonder how he's going to be. I wonder what this is going to be. We got a whole new dynamic tomorrow. I wonder how that's going to work. I wanted to be able to sleep peacefully because I had my man back. So to your question, that's how we fought through that and finally got him back full time, and the rest is history.
What year did you guys reconnect and finally back full time?
2011, he became at the very end. It was like I went to the Super Bowl. It was the Brady. It was in Indianapolis. The Brady Giants' second Super Bowl. So it was right in that week. That was the first time he came back on full time, and we relaunched.
This episode is sponsored by Via. This holiday season, unwind and recharge with Via. Whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing a festive cheer, Via Premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance. Via has a wide selection to choose from. They got gummies, vapes, flowers, and more. Their product have a wide range of THC levels as well. So if you're like me and looking for something potent, Via has you covered. Or you need something lighter, Via has you covered there as well. I've really been enjoying the Dream Sleep gummies. I'm always on super long flights, and when I pop the gummies, I sleep through anybody trying to talk my ear off. Via is crafted with the highest quality of hemp and is sourced from trusted American farms. And the best part, Via is legally shipped to nearly all states in the US with discreet packaging. The package goes directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card required. So if you're 21 and older, check out our link to Via website. You can find the link in our description and use the code SMOKE for a 15% discount. You know you want those Wingstop boneless wings. With the boneless meal deal from Wingstop, you get 20 boneless wings, 4 delicious flavors, an order of large fries, for $16.99. Mango, habanero, OG hot, and my favorite, lemon pepper. What are y'all waiting on? More wings, more flavor, more bang for your buck. The boneless meal deal from Wingstop. Order now at wingstop.com.
Stephen A. said this. Who knows where I'd be if Skip didn't put me on First Take?
I don't know. I look back at that time. You push him out the back door? No, seriously. Like it's the dumbest thing ESPN has ever done in the history of ESPN. I know some dumb things have happened. That was dumb.
They making up for it now. They taking care of him now.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
He's worth every penny of it.
And ain't he up? He up for some more money, right? He'll get it too. He should
Good
definitely
for
deserve
him.
it. What do you have to say about people who feel like First Take debate and hot take format was bad for sports media?
I don't have any respect for that.
Yeah, they can kiss ass, huh?
As Stephen A. would say, they can all kick rocks,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah. So I know we spawned a million imitators, but I already explained to you what we had. You want to talk about rare chemistry? I can't make it up.
You can't make it
up. I can't coach it. I can't teach it. I can say, thank you, God, for it. And that's all I can say. Yeah. Thank you, God, because we connected. And they all tried and failed, or whatever. Because if you don't know how to do it or you don't have any rapport with your debate partner, it will flop miserably. And it'll be hard to watch. And it will be contrived and tricked up. And you have to have natural disagreement or it won't work. Because I'm not sure Stephen A. really disagreed with a lot of what I said. It just pissed him off that I was saying, right? You know, we're just irking. It would just
like, goddamn it.
As he would say, you get on my last nerve, you know, and I would get on his last nerve and we'd be off to the races. He, as opposed to Shannon, it was very different with Shannon, our chemistry, because Stephen A. would always say, first. You go first, because he wants to do this.
Do his shit, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to sit back and listen to me because he knows I'm going to prep harder than him. I got the photographic memory. So he's like, just spew. Just go ahead and just regurgitate all over the table. You know, just vomit everywhere. Throw all your stuff out. And he would sit back, classically, greatest gift of gab I ever experienced, arms folded, and say, wait a second. Did you just say so-and-so is so-and-so? And I'd say, yeah, I did. What of it? And boom, we go. But he would pick a little like part C of my ABC argument and jump all over it. And the control room is saying, what the hell are they doing? Because we've left the topic way behind and we're going way over here and magic is happening. Okay? I can't teacher coach that way.
You were able to catch lightning in a bottle twice. the magic you and Shannon had. How did
It
that
was
partnership
just beautiful.
come apart or come together?
On Undisputed, I needed a new partner, and fatefully and fortunately, near the end of my run with Stephen A., there was a week in which Stephen A. had to go do something somewhere. He was always gallivanting all around the country doing whatever he did, being Stephen A. Smith. And we tried Shannon Sharpe, I think for 3 days. And I really liked him in a very different way than I loved Stephen A. But I liked our clique, and it was a whole different dynamic because he's out of your mold. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. So now we had ex-player. We didn't have journalist. We had
Right.
ex-player journalist. We both are fitness obsessed, so we had that in common. And he right away respected me because I'm like a workout addict. I just like it. I'm sorry. I apologize for it. I'm crazed, but I just do it because I like it. And so does he. And he used to say to me, we're way more alike than people think. And I believe that's true. I'm coming out here because Jamie Horowitz, do you guys know?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Jamie's here and they're struggling and they're going to try to relaunch this FS1. And Jamie's point to me was, I just need you to come here or we're not going to make it. And he had given me a start. Remember, when we first went up to Bristol, when it was still kind of cold pizza-ish, we had 4 segments a show, but it was still that show they tried to launch in New York in 2004, which was a bad idea, but it was the idea of kind of a GMA, Good Morning America, of sports, where it's loosely based on sports, but we'll have these 4 debate segments to spice it up and bring back the sports fans. And what we found when we got to Bristol was the only thing that rated in the whole show were we'd have 4 spikes a show because that's all anybody cared about was the debate. They didn't care about the pet segments and the ballpark food segments and the cigar segments and all those segments. Nobody cared about that. Jamie was the one who took over a year before Stephen A. joined full-time. And Jamie said, hell with all this. I'm going to blow out what's left of cold pizza and we're going to go all debate for 2. It's a 2-hour show, obviously, there. We're going to go all debate for 2 full hours. And a lot of people in the hallways stopped me and said, this is career suicide for you and for Jamie. It'll never work. And the rest is history. So Jamie then came, he went to the Today Show, then he wound up here. So I felt like he gave me that show. He blew it out and sort of rebuilt it around me and the 2 hours of full-time debate. So it was up to us to select, should we do a rotation like we did in the beginning? We thought about it, and I pushed hard for Shannon because he works hard, he prepares hard, and he shows up for work on time and loved to compete with me. Well, I can't make that up. Maybe it's not as magical as the Stephen A. kind of chemistry, but from day one, it flew and it took off. And to your point, and I appreciate that, I got blessed twice because we took off.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers at the time with First Take and Undisputed, but I would say from just a fan perspective, you guys were right there, if not above. Like I said, I don't know the numbers, but the chemistry you and Shannon had kind of overshadowed whatever Stephen A. was doing on ESPN.
Well, I'll remind you, when I left, First Take was still on ESPN 2.
Yep.
Which has maybe a fifth of the eyeballs that regular ESPN has. And as soon as we launched here, took a month, they moved the show up to the big eyeballs to protect it because we were going to catch it and pass it.
Absolutely. Obviously, great chemistry. You and Shannon had a great run. Any regrets on how that partnership ended for the show, and any regrets on how the relationship ended?
What did you think about the character? The Uncle Shay Shay character. He didn't come on the show doing that with the black and mild and the do-rag and Hennessy and all that stuff.
When he first started it?
Yeah, he didn't come on with that at first when he first got on the show. So when all that came about, what you think about that too?
Okay, it's better for you guys to respond to that than me, but I was still very close with Stephen A. at that point, and he did not love it.
No, yeah.
Okay, and I defer to you.
Nobody did, so we
okay.
we'll just leave it there.
But you know what? You talk about branding. You talk about Stephen A. Smith. To be Unc was big for Uncle Shannon, and out of that, which he, I think it went away. I don't remember him doing it much over the last couple of years. I don't think he ever did it, but whatever. Unc stayed, Shay stayed. So it ended up being positive for him.
Mm-hmm.
It made me pretty uncomfortable from my seat, but look, yeah, you ask about regret. I just have one huge regret. We weren't nearly as close as Stephen A. and I were close, but I just wanted us to finish together on time, because over the last year or so, I would watch what you guys have done here. I would watch what happens to me on Twitter, now X. I would watch what happens to my videos, and I'd say the audience is starting to erode on what they call linear TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's here. You guys were ahead of that curve and then right on time on that curve. And now I want to chase you guys. I want to do this because I saw it for about a year. But I wanted Shannon and I, because I saw his podcast was starting to take hold when he was at Fox, I wanted us to finish together. And I don't know, as God is my witness, I'm not exactly sure what happened upstairs, but it fell all apart and he got pushed out. And I was blindsided and dumbfounded by that, and I don't like it to this day. And I'm not a regrets type. I don't look back and say, oh, if only. But that was one where it was just wrong. I didn't, that's not how I envisioned, because our contracts were concurrent. So I knew when mine was up, I wanted to go my separate way, but I wanted us to end the way it should have ended, because, man, we had 7 really good years.
Mm-hmm.
We had, on just pure ratings, we had about 5 through the roof years. And that matters to me. You guys, like you guys, I don't know if you ever have any spats or anything, or you disagree on things or whatever, but you're linked for life now.
The respect doesn't change, though.
Okay.
We might disagree, but the respect,
okay.
Yeah.
But you're linked for life because you've been in this foxhole together. And you've had all kinds of guests on here, and you had Kamala here, and it's big. And you will look back, God only knows where it's going to take all of us in the next 20 years, but 20 years, if God is good and you're still moving, you'll look back if you're not doing this anymore, and you'll have a deep connection and a deep connection. Okay, that's how I feel about Stephen A. and Shannon. We went to, I don't want to say war, we went to battle together every day. And listen, Shannon just showed up for work, man. He came. He's extremely competitive, and I am crazy competitive. And so we went at it in different, authentic ways than Stephen A. and I did, because Stephen A., he takes it seriously, but there's showmanship involved with Stephen A. that is fun to watch. With Shannon and I, trust me, it got seriously, you sat out there.
I've watched you prepare for a show, Skip, and my boy tell you right there, it is intense watching Skip prepare for a show. It's it's just as intense as getting ready for a basketball game, bro. It's super intense.
Well, that's my basketball game.
Yeah.
Was it?
Thank you.
Did it ever? Because, like I said, sometimes you got into some heated debates with them. Did it ever feel personal? Did you ever walk away from the desk and like, damn, that hurt a little bit, or damn, maybe I shouldn't have said that? Or
I told him from day one, yeah, I prep hard. I'm intense. I'm over intense. But as soon as that little red light goes off, I let it go, man. And I never take it home. And if you do, you tell me about it, and let's sort it out. And we had some sit downs where we would sort things out. But he knew early on, I always had his back. And that there's no need to, like I always used to say on First Take, my slogan was, no punches pulled, but none thrown. You can't get to the point where you want to throw, come on, you know, like then nobody wants to watch that. But they like genuine heat. And Shannon and I produced genuine heat.
real heat. Yes,
And
sir.
I truly love him for that. Like those are magical moments to me where I look back. We got into one time about Tom Brady. I don't even know where it went. It just flew off the handle. And we did have to have a sit down after that one, and we hugged. You know, like it's okay. But I think
Is that the one where you told him to put his glasses back on?
yes, because
I remember that one.
Because now we're getting to punches thrown, right? Like okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, if he threw one punch at me,
Yeah.
That'd be the end of me.
That's like
wouldn't
a
it, right?
poodle and a Rottweiler. You don't want them problems.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm still not sure how it went there because this stuff is so unscripted. You're in the middle of it. Like there's kind of a quasi plan. You know, we kind of know what the topical question is, but then it just goes off over here. You guys just riff off each other. I don't know. You can't. Half the stuff that's happened so far in the show, you couldn't have planned.
Right.
Because we're just vibing off each other.
Right.
And with Shannon, I'm vibing and it's going here. And you asked me, is it personal between you and LeBron or Westbrook? After a while, I'm thinking, is it personal between Shannon and Brady? Because he just hated Tom Brady to me. And it got vitriolic, you know, where it started to get nasty, angry on the air. And I'm saying, and I like Brady. I don't know Brady. I've never met him before, but he's really good. You know, like he was really good at what he did. And I think it drove Shannon crazy. He's playing a position that's not even like a football position. You know, like they protect him. So all these guys are playing football and you can really get hurt doing all these other things, except kicker or punter. But all these guys are doing this and they're running into each other the way humans should never run into each other. And here's this guy called the quarterback, and all the rules protect him. He can slide if he wants to, and nobody can touch him. And Tom Brady's just standing back there, patting the football, pew, 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 just throwing deadly accurate passes and just surgically carving people up. It won him 7 Super Bowls. I think he should have won 8 Super Bowls out of the 10 he played in. Shannon's in the Hall of Fame, obviously. And I think there was some resentment of how can he be this great? Because he's not all that athletic and he can't run a lick, right? He can just speed read, process, poise under fire. He took some shots. He would get hit occasionally. But in the end, it's like Wayne Gretzky in hockey. He's just playing this game above everybody else.
Right.
And it's all finesse. It's all, you know, he's just operating on a higher plane than all these hockey goons down here running into each other. So was Brady. Well, I'm defending Brady, and Shannon went crazy. And then at some point, he's suggesting he's as good as Tom Brady, or was as good as Tom Brady at that point, still was.
He did not say that.
Huh?
He did not say
well,
that.
he did. That's how I interpret it.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have been mad too. Put your glasses back on after you say some shit like that.
Okay.
But nowhere close to Brady.
I'm like, Shannon, and I told him on the air, I said, this guy's in another echelon from everybody else who ever played. There's never been anything like this guy, what he achieved. And Shannon said, I'm in the Hall. I said, I got it. And then he's really mad and he takes his glasses off. Okay, what are we going to do? Fight? Because now you got me. You know, like I can't win that one. But let's just cease and desist. And let's go on to the next topic because that's ridiculous. That's as close as we ever got to, you know, eruption, explosion.
Skip, you do an hour of cardio every day. You got good footwork. You can move. Shannon hips bad. He can't move. He just top heavy.
But have you ever seen a Chihuahua on a pit bull?
He just top heavy though. Like he can't move. He's just top heavy. He can't move.
Want to see a Chihuahua on a
He
pit
had
bull?
hip surgery and all that. Skip do an hour of cardio. He can move a little bit. You can stick and move, Skip.
Okay, he couldn't catch me. Right?
There you go.
I know he couldn't catch me.
There you go.
But that MF is
Strong. He's strong.
he is ripped.
Yeah, he's strong.
That's a big boy.
He's big, big boy, and works hard at being a big boy.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to, okay, I can't compete with that. But it's funny, right before we launched, he would send me videos. He sent me a video of him in spin class. So he's on the bike, just killing it, you know, and just dripping. I mean, like dripping wet. And caption is, I'm going to kick your ass. Like he's telling me I'm going to kick your ass.
Go time.
And I showed my wife, Ernestine, I said, I do this every day.
This is nothing.
Like, what? Really? I'm not at all intimidated by that. So I laughed when I saw him. You're not going to get me that way. You can get me on TV, you got me, but you can't get me that way.
There you go.
So I don't know. I could land a little jab here or something.
Yeah, stick and move.
Yeah,
Stick
stick and move.
Don't let Jack get you fucked up, Skip.
Stick and move. Stick and move, Skip. Stick and move, Skip. Let's go back. Early upbringing in Oklahoma City. Mom and dad owned and ran a barbecue spot.
Yep.
You a big barbecue guy? The Hickory House.
Never ate it after I was forced to all the way through high school. Never touched it after that. I had my fill, and I can't even look at ribs anymore, and I got nothing against them, but I grew up on them. Seriously grew up on them. I got forced to work in that little hole-in-the-wall barbecue place on the south side of Oklahoma City, which is the wrong side of town. It was a tough side. Every summer, every Christmas break, every spring break, no questions asked, I'm working at the restaurant. I hated the restaurant. I have a brother 2 years younger who loved the restaurant, and he became a big chef and
Michelin
restaurateur
star,
in
yeah.
Chicago and
Mhm.
won the James Beard Award for Best Restaurant in America and Best Chef in America. Obama, it's his favorite
Mhm.
restaurant in Chicago called Topolobampo Room. So my brother literally ate it up being in the restaurant, and I despised it because I was sports obsessed, and nobody in my family liked sports. So they couldn't understand why I wanted to play football, basketball, baseball. And my father, who never liked me and was a hardcore alcoholic, said, you're going to learn this so you'll have something to do with your life. And so I'm forced to do crap I don't like, which is preparation work, cutting up green peppers to put in the potato salad. And then every lunch and dinner rush, I had to clean off the tables.
Busboy, yes, sir.
It's some nasty business when you're cleaning up after people because everybody smoked. So it's just smoke and ashes and butts, and it's
barbecue
disgusting.
sauce and
And
bones.
if you do that for a 2-hour lunch, and then he says, take your lunch, you're not going to be real keen on eating anything.
Yeah,
Trust
eat
me.
that shit.
You know, especially barbecue.
Right.
So after a while, and they did a good job, and they did, it would come and go. Sometimes we'd have a little money, and sometimes we'd be bust because that's the restaurant business. But that was my life.
If you ever worry about the safety of your home and your family, right now is the best time of the year for home security.
Right now, for our listeners, Simply Safe is giving exclusive early access to its Black Friday sale.
Y'all know we don't play about our families, and that's why we trust Simply Safe. They will protect your home and alert you before intruders even break in.
Old school systems only take action once someone is already inside your home.
That's too late.
That's too late.
Simply Safe Active Outdoor Guard Protection changes the game. They alert you before the crime even happens.
Plus, there's no long-term contracts, no cancellation fees, and it's around $1 a day for all this protection, bro.
Simply Safe is offering all the Smoke listeners an exclusive deal. Early access to their Black Friday sale.
This week only, you can take 6% off any new system with the Select Professional Monitoring Plan.
This is their best offer of the year.
Head to simplysafe.com/smoke to claim your discount and make sure your home is safe this season.
So don't wait. This offer won't last long. Keep your home, your family, and your peace of mind safe with Simply Safe. There's no safe like
Simply Safe.
What up, y'all? I want to tell you guys about our newest sponsor, Tommy John.
Trust me, you want to hear this.
We've all had a day ruined by some bad underwear.
Whether you're riding up, itchy, or worse, bad underwear always leads to a bad day.
Ever since Tommy John sent me a care package, that's all I've been wearing.
Tommy John's underwear is silky soft and breathable.
What you put in your pants matters. That's why I've been rocking with Tommy John.
Elevate your day with Tommy John. Find them at your local Dick's Sporting Goods.
Or visit dix.com/TJ and start your day off right with Tommy John.
Great days start with great underwear. You still talk about your dad being an alcoholic. Complicated relationship with your mother, with him being an alcoholic. Can you talk about that a little bit?
They both had alcohol issues very differently. My father was a functional alcoholic. He could wake up in the morning. I saw this every morning. He would march to the kitchen and he would pour himself a vodka and orange juice and just gulp it. And then when we were coming home, if I worked the lunch and dinner, I'd have to ride home with him. I had no choice. I don't know, nobody wore seatbelts. I don't know how we made it, but functional alcoholic. He would also always take a big cup, just a soft cup, fill it with half Coca-Cola, and then we'd go to the car and he'd pull the vodka from under the seat and fill it as a big gulp cup.
Big gulp. Damn.
And he's drinking this via straw all the way home. And I'm not even thinking, because I don't know enough to know you're driving drunk, but he seemed to be able to
It's the
function.
norm.
Yeah, he
That was the
lived.
norm.
Mom slowly fell to the bottom of the bottle, but she was a fall down drunk, where when she got drunk, she got silly, sappy, lovey, crazy, can't function drunk. And so I'm the oldest, and I'm dealing with two of them. He left when I was 16, ran off with the woman 3 doors down, who was my mom's best friend. They eloped to Tulsa up the road from Oklahoma City, and I was kind of left running the household. But it was just tough on me because I was the first coming up, and you have to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know you have to figure it out. You
Nope,
had to
there's
figure
no
it
playbook.
out.
Yep.
You know, how do you do this? How do you survive? How do you do this? Because I got no guidance. The good part was I had no rules. I had no curfew. I had no guidance. I could do anything I wanted. And the weird part was when I turned 14, my mother made my father buy me a motorcycle. And they weren't expensive. It was a Honda 90. They're tiny. It's like a sewing machine engine, and it'd go like 40 miles an hour. But she just said, I don't want to take him anywhere anymore. He wants to go to all these practices and all this stuff. Just get him, just get him out of my hair. Just give him the motorcycle. So I go down on my 14th birthday. I aced the test, made 100 on the written test, and he takes me right to the Honda shop, and I'm off to the races. And it's December the 4th, and it's cold. I got a church league basketball game, and I literally strapped onto the banana seat my basketball bag, and it's freezing cold, and I'm going to First Christian Church to the gym to play basketball, and I was free, man. And so that was fun, where I could do whatever I wanted, but the problem with it is you can't trust anybody at home.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar upbringing. My parents were functioning drug addicts, and I saw a lot of abuse and violence, and times where we had no money and times we felt like we had a little bit of money.
What'd your dad do?
My dad was a butcher by day and sold drugs by night.
Wow.
And my mom was a stay-at-home mom that
Did he do well selling?
He did well enough to make
Okay.
ends meet. I wouldn't say well, but well enough. But my mom, I was born in the 80s. That was a cocaine phase and era and a lot of different things. So I just saw a lot at a young age.
Where
but
were you in the pecking order?
I'm the
Kid?
oldest of 3 until
Same.
until 3 years ago I found out I have 2 older brothers.
Aha.
Everybody in the 80s, everybody was dealing and doing. There was nobody just dealing.
They got
Everybody
high
was
and
on.
on supply.
Everybody
Okay.
was on.
But I say all that to say, I mean, I read when I was going through your stuff that, and I was wondering if that was the reason your tough upbringing, was that the reason why you chose not to have children? But before you answer that, on the flip side, I think I saw a lot. My mom was super mom, and my dad and my relationships are great now. My mom passed in 2007, and I felt like when I lost my mom, I gained a dad, and now we're great, and he's a great grandpa
That's
to
good.
all his
Snorting
grandkids.
Keith recently.
He did snort some keef. It's in his DNA, bro. That's why I never fuck with heavy drugs. But I say all that to say, like, I saw a lot of not what to do from my dad. My dad had now that we're closer, and he told me his upbringing, and I understand he didn't know how to love, was no examples of loving. I wanted to be the greatest father ever because I didn't feel like I had a dad there, although he was there every single day. I just didn't feel like I had that connection with him. What was your reason for choosing not to have children?
I didn't want to turn into him, and I was afraid I would because I got his
Mm.
genetics.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried rehab twice because he was a veteran of the Air Force. So we went to VA hospital to meet with psychiatrists twice. And the first time, a female psychiatrist asked me as the oldest, "Do you drink alcohol?" I was 13-ish, maybe. No, because he had forced me to drink alcohol when I was like 4, 5, and 6, when they would throw parties at home for their little clique. And their party trick was to get their oldest son to come in, and they would give me hard something bourbon, because it's just bitter. I mean, it's foul. It's like castor oil taste to me. So I would sip it and spit it out, and they would all laugh. It didn't bother me at all, but it actually saved me because I'm thinking,
I don't want to
what do you want that for? You put that in your mouth?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. So she said to me that day, "You're doubly predisposed. You got double alcohol genes in you, alcoholic genes. So you better be careful. You better not start." So you say, "Why do you do an hour of cardio?" Because I've channeled all that
Into that.
whatever that obsessive compulsive, it all goes into this. So at least it's a positive addiction, or I could go right down your dad's path or your
right.
mom's path.
How instrumental as someone myself, again, and we all probably had our own versions of childhood trauma. At my age of 44 now, seek counseling, and my fiance is very instrumental on me kind of unpacking my childhood and learning how to not be a man, because I feel like I've been a man for a long time, just deal with shit different.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how, obviously instrumental has your wife been in that process for you, and do you seek outside help to kind of deal with some of the older shit, or what is your way of kind of dealing with it?
Sometimes she says, maybe you should try.
Maybe you should.
I don't. I feel like I'm good with it, that I've worked through it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to point this out, and you guys can laugh at me if you want, but my saving grace in my life, what centered me and saved me, was a black woman named Katie Bell Henderson. And the reason I hate to bring it up is because you guys probably dismiss it as, oh, it's like the help or it's plantation mentality. Trust me, it wasn't. She worked for my grandmother, who was not a wealthy woman, but she traveled for her work. So Katie Bell ran her household for her by day because she wasn't there a lot. So because my home life was such a wreck, I got left at my grandmother's a whole lot more than I wanted to get left at my grandmother's. And because of that, Katie Bell Henderson, a black woman, born near Birmingham, Alabama, but raised on the south side of Chicago. So she was Chicago tough. She wasn't deep south. She was more Chicago, and you know Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Both of you do. Okay, so she saw what was happening, and she was my mother. She just took over. And
What age was this?
like 5, 6,
wow,
7,
early.
8, 9, 10,
Okay.
all in there in my formative year. I don't know when you form completely.
Important years.
but
That's important years.
in those, right in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's Katie Bell taking over my life. She's my role model. She's my guidance counselor. And she was hard on me. She was not afraid. It wasn't like she's playing like the old black lady, like that's not how it was. She would take me by the shoulders and shake me. She taught me the word hypocrite when I was 7 years old, which I did not know. She said, "You're being a hypocrite." Shake me. No, she would tell me the evils of alcohol. You can't start. Just look what's going on. It was all through my family,
right
all
in
through
front of you.
extended family. Don't start. Just don't. And she taught me right and wrong. And I have good right and wrong in me. I have decent character, and it all came from that woman. I'm telling you, as God is my witness, I would not be the same. I would not be stable without what she brought into my life when it really mattered. And it also helped me. She had a granddaughter named Audrey who would come every summer and stay with her for 3 months of the summer from Chicago. So I got left over there. And so now I'm 6, 7, and 8, and I'm making up games in the backyard with Audrey, my age, from the south side of Chicago. You want to talk about education? Because Oklahoma City was still segregated, but it's not deep south. It doesn't feel like wrong bad. Like that's not the sort of the mood of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, even though it was segregated, I got to interact with this black girl from Chicago. This is gold, man, because I'm getting it. I'm feeling it. And the main thing Katie Bell taught me was we're all the same. We're pieces of God. Every one of us.
Absolutely.
You're that color. You're that color. I'm this color. Okay, pieces of God.
Mm-hmm.
And if
He
you
was
can
just left in the oven a little longer, but go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay. Okay.
it's okay.
So that's okay.
Yeah. All right. So final piece to my puzzle was my wife Ernestine, sitting across from us 5 years ago. She had a, what do you call him? A shaman, a mystic, named Joseph, a black man from New Orleans living in New York City that she had connected with, and he really enlightened her. Over the phone, he could see things in her life that she was blown away by. So she said, "Just try it." I said, "I don't buy it. I'm not there." She said, just open your mind up a little bit. This isn't like therapy. Just see what he has to say about your life and times. Maybe he'll give you just a tidbit that will really open you up somehow. So I get on with Joseph. I don't know. It's kind of awkward. How do we start? What do we do? He says, well, tell me what you want to know from me. I said, really nothing. So we're just going back and forth, and it's not cool.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, Joseph says, and there's no way he could know any of this. He says, somebody wants to join us. And I'm like, stop it. Somebody wants to join us. And he said, yeah, it's a woman. And my first flash is, it's my mom. If you're buying into this, what we're doing. And I don't want to communicate with my mom. I'm good. I put that to rest in the bed. God bless her. I made peace with that. I don't need to redo all that. And he says, it's a black woman. And I'm like, what? Because we lost Katie Bell when I was in college. So it's been a long time, since I really thought, she's in my heart, but I don't think about her on a daily basis. I said, Katie Bell? He says, yeah, it's Katie Bell.
Wow. And
she wants you to know how proud she is of you. That's the God's truth. She wants you to know how proud she is of you. Well, I got tears in my eyes because of all the things that have ever happened in my whole life, nothing from my father, my mother, even from Ernestine, my wife, nothing could mean as much as me being told, whether you buy this or not, but it rang true at the moment. She wants you to know how proud she is of you. And I don't think Joseph could have had any idea, because my wife barely knows about Katie Bell and all the details of it. So it's not like she could prep him, tee him up for this.
that was the spirits.
Yeah, it was spiritual. It came from somewhere else. So that when you say, do I need therapy? I got Katie Bell in my heart. And you can laugh if you want, but that's the God's truth.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. Obviously that was very personal. I appreciate you opening up and sharing that with us.
After college, you quickly became a star journalist. Dallas Morning News columnist at 26 years old. What are your best memories of covering the game as a youngin?
Man, I had so many good ones. I've been so blessed. Well, you and I share something, Mr. Jackson, a misguided love for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, it's not misguided. It's
very misguided.
It's not misguided. We won a championship more recent than y'all.
But we've been there enough. We sniffed it.
Y'all been there, but y'all lost.
Yeah, y'all haven't even been close.
So we count losses now? Are we doing that again?
Yeah.
We won the championship more recent than y'all. Fact or fiction?
Facts. But y'all still suck. But go ahead, Skip. It's not about
They don't like the facts, though. They don't like the facts, though.
Hey, I'm being interviewed here.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was like a God thing. I wind up as the lead columnist at the Dallas Morning News right on time for what was actually the beginning of the end of the Landry dynasty.
Yeah.
And I got to live inside it. I got to know Roger Staubach really well. And those teams had huge star power.
Yes.
With Tony Dorsett, Charlie Waters, and Cliff Harris. I don't know if it goes back a little before your time. You're kind of being molded as a Cowboy diehard.
Yep.
I went to my first game when I was 10. My uncle in Dallas took me to the old Cotton Bowl to see the Cowboys play, a team that was my favorite team at the time because it was the only team we could get on television in Oklahoma City, was the then St. Louis Cardinals. They were a high-flying offensive juggernaut. And so I wanted to see them play this Cowboy expansion team. And of course, I sit in my seat, and within 5 minutes, I'm looking down at those stars. They had them on the helmet and on the shoulder pads. And I'm
Falling
saying,
in love.
I want me some of that, man. Right? And then you're lost.
Who's the first player you fell in love, first Cowboy player that you attached the Cowboys to, like you fell in love with? Mine was Bill Bates.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I knew him very well.
He was an animal.
Well, he's crazy.
Yeah, flying down the field on sport. Yeah, that was my guy. Bill Bates was my guy.
Okay, well, Staubach was my guy.
Yeah.
Because, listen, I know he's before most of the times of the people who are watching our show right now, but Roger Staubach was it.
Yeah.
He was beyond Aikman, beyond Don Meredith. He was the ultimate competitor. And speaking of basketball, later after he retired, back in my 20s, I played with and against him a lot of basketball, and he was completely psycho as a basketball player.
Really?
Like crazy competitive. Like scary crazy.
Really? Like a good crazy?
I don't know.
I don't know if you want to call it good.
One time
he wasn't good. He was just.
I had a friend, you won't know this guy named Pat Toomey, who's a great writer, played for the Cowboys as a defensive end. He was really good. It's before your time, but he was a good basketball player, and he's 6'6". So we used to play Roger 2-on-2 with a guy from his work. He's easing into his real estate career at that point. And one day we just beat the hell out of him because Pat would come set picks for me, and Roger couldn't get to the pick because he's a mountain of a man. And I would just get off the pick and make shots, and it was driving Roger crazy. So he rescheduled another game against us and brought Cliff Harris. Do you remember Cliff Harris? It's, again, before your time, but he was Bill Bates before Bill Bates, and he was certifiably crazy. They called him Crash because he had no scruples, like he didn't care about his body. So Roger brought Cliff Harris to guard me, which is hitting a gnat with a sledgehammer, right? And that's what happened. It was sledgehammer on gnat. But that was Roger because he's not going to lose to the sports writer, the sports He's just not going to do it. He's going to take me. Cliff's going to take me out. Okay. So I was in awe of him, but I had the blessing of just getting to know him in those teams. So even before that, I was at the LA Times out here right out of college, and I was in the middle of stuff right and left. The Steve Garvey Dodgers were huge at that point with Ron Say and David Lopes. And they didn't like Steve Garvey and they didn't like his wife. So they came to me and wanted me to write the story. So I was always in the middle. So like controversy found me a lot in my writing career. And I don't know why, but I didn't run from it. I tackled it.
You embraced it. Favorite team to cover? Most favorite team to cover?
Of all time?
Yes.
98 Bulls. God.
98 Bulls.
I mean, Last Dance. I'm dancing, man. I'm there.
Yeah.
Michael liked me, and he didn't like many in the media, but I don't know why. I think he liked me because I was my own guy.
You a straight shooter?
And I didn't care what anybody thought. And he got a kick out of me, and he opened to me and would call me. If I left him a message, he would call me back. And listen, that championship run with that team, watching that stuff unfold, because they went against Reggie's Pacers, and it was a battle royal, man. It was 7 games with controversy just spilling right and left because Phil would get into it with the referees, and it got Reggie and company. They forced it all the way to Game 7. Yep. Chris Mullin was on that team, and the Davises and
Schmitz.
Yeah,
Duncan Dutchman.
they were legit now, and Reggie was obviously a legit shooter scorer.
Right.
And they got it to Game 7, and then Michael said, "No,
Enough.
not in my house."
Enough.
So that was the end of that. But that's my favorite team by far.
Which player was your best interview, you think? Your favorite interview?
You know why I've been thinking about this? Because the World Series just ended. Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you have a feel?
I just got a chance to meet him. I just got a chance to play in his celebrity softball game in Oakland. It was the last game in the Coliseum last Sunday.
We met him before that.
Oh, wow.
Huh?
At the baseball game we played at. He was there.
The one, yeah.
Did you?
Incredible. Just his energy, his aura, the passion he still speaks with. Like, he was really cool. Gave me his number. I said, let's go golf.
Did he?
What? Yeah.
Really? You should take him up on that.
Definitely. He's down in Orange County now.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep.
Okay.
Something about their last name.
He was coming off a Game 6 at Yankee Stadium in which he had hit 3 straight home runs on 3 straight pitches. Never seen anything like that. They're in Fort Lauderdale for spring training. The LA Times assigned me to do a big sit down if I could get him to sit down. And I'm a nobody kid reporter. I'm 24 probably. And I caught him as he was entering on a Sunday morning before an afternoon game in Fort Lauderdale. You know what? It was in Baltimore. I mean, it was Baltimore. It's in Miami because the Orioles were in Miami. So it was at their ballpark, an old municipal stadium in Miami. Anyway, I caught him, introduced myself, and he couldn't have been nicer to me, and I don't know why, because he was big. He was, because baseball was way bigger then than it is now. So he was NFL, NBA stature. He was liftoff. He was the biggest name in sports because he was always into it with his Billy Martin. And he said, let's do this. And he sat down in his locker, and I just caught him. You know how we're all in moods, and I caught him in a good mood, and he just gushed to me. And that man is brilliant. about sports, life, what's really happening. And I was just mesmerized. But I got lost. I was just taking notes, and I would get lost in what he was saying because it was so pure to me. And it was so enlightening. And then I would see him occasionally because I was in Dallas, and he would come to play the Rangers at old Arlington Stadium. And he would always remember my name. And so that's my guy. And we had him on Undisputed at least one time. And I'm in awe of his presence.
Yeah.
Just his aura.
You can feel it.
Right? Can't
Without
you
even
feel
saying
it?
anything. You can feel his
And
energy.
you want to talk about a
Yeah.
powerful human being.
Mhm.
Oh, God. To watch him swing and unleash.
The game we played in, I think A-Rod asked him a question of what he went through when he was playing.
Yeah.
And that went viral.
He broke down.
He
Really?
really broke down and broke it, what he went through
Mhm.
as a player.
Yeah, we played at some charity softball game in Alabama at the first ballpark. What was it called? Damn it.
Birmingham.
In Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Birmingham.
I watched it. Yeah.
You had a quote saying, "I made some money on TV. Now it's time to make my mark." You obviously transitioned off a very successful linear
Mhm.
journalistic career.
Yep.
You're transferring over into this new form of sports media, I guess it is. It's the new wave. What do you expect? How you liking it? And have you kind of found your footing yet?
I am more excited than I've ever been because I'm challenged like I've never been. You guys know this landscape way better than I do. And I'm serious. I'm like chasing you guys now. But I needed this. I wanted this. I know I can do it. We're taking baby steps. We're developing 3 other shows than my current podcast, which is a solo podcast. Never even had a guest on it. But we've got 3 in the works, and we're expanding, and we're excited. So it's a brave new world and frontier. Again, I'm learning from you guys. I'm watching closely how you do it. It's been educational to see what scope you have here and how your crew operates and how this show operates. I'm learning, and I'm starting fresh. And I like it that I'm against all odds because that's when I'm at my best.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Where do you think, I always feel like, in this space, there's been a huge shift. Athletes' voices are more present than ever. Where do you feel the ESPNs and Fox kind of sit in this new era where I always feel like they'll be there, but that they're not necessarily the you have to be there now to be heard or be seen? Where do you kind of feel like traditional, or I hate to say old school, but almost old school-ish media sits compared to this new wave of digital media?
I think you answered your question as you asked it, because you guys' voices are much more powerful. Your platforms are more powerful and visible than they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's everywhere because of digital. So your voices can resonate and echo louder than they used to. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. But is there still room for people who didn't play who also have a different perspective on it? Sure, there is. So do I think studio shows will go completely away? I hope not. I'm knocking on wood for my friends in the business. But this is the new way, and this is where you have to go if you're going to survive in this business.
Wow. Just the other night, we saw a huge meltdown by Dylan's Yankees in the 5th inning. They gave the Dodgers 6 outs that inning and gave them the World Series. Just thoughts on that series. I really thought Yankees had a sloppy season. I feel like very talented, but I think their sloppiness caught up to them. But I really felt like there's a lot of great baseball in this actual World Series.
Okay.
Is that the worst World Series half inning ever?
Yes. I haven't gotten over the 5th inning of what became a closeout game that I did not see coming because it's 5-0. Judge has found his stroke.
Yeah.
He's escaped his slump. It looked like he was back. It looked like they were back. Stanton was back. Soto was back. And it felt like they were taking charge.
Here it comes.
And so I couldn't wait for, we're taping on Friday, but what was going to be tonight, a Friday night, Game 6, because it was going to get really interesting, especially if somehow the Yankees could maintain the momentum and get it to a Game 7. then we could talk all-time classic. And it's 5-0, and it felt like 50-0 to me because Garrett Cole looked invincible to me. He looked untouchable to me, and he was so poised and so in command and control that I'm saying he might just go 9 and just shut them out and do something that we hadn't seen since the days of my all-time favorite baseball player, Bob Gibson, of my old St. Louis Cardinals, who would just shut you out in 2 hours and 2 minutes, and you'd be the next game, right? It's what we used to call a can of corn fly ball. It's as routine as it gets to Aaron Judge, and he just muffs it because he took his eye off it for a split second, but it's something little kids don't do when they're 7 or 8 years old. It's just, you just can't do that at that moment. But that now the floodgates still haven't opened yet. Then it's a pretty routine ground ball to Volpe, and it's a pretty routine force out at third. And he gets a little too fine with it and just dirt balls it. And it's like a 10-foot throw, it felt like, okay, but you're still okay. And it's ground ball to first. And Garrett Cole just loses his mind for a second, and he doesn't cover first. And now the floodgates have opened because you've done 3 things in 1 inning that I didn't think you were capable of doing 1 thing in 1 inning. And you've tripled it. You've gone triple jeopardy to the point that you could just see the body language of the Dodgers you're going to give us this? Right. Seriously? And the floodgates open. And to the Yankees' credit, they fought back and took the lead again, but you just knew what was coming. That was coming. Okay?
After every error they made, I was telling Dylan, the baseball gods don't like this, Dylan.
The
baseball gods don't like this, Dylan.
They just don't like it.
The baseball gods don't like this, Dylan. Hot topic, obviously, coming off what from the outside looking in was a very successful season for the WNBA with the growth of the game and the young stars coming in the game. But when you look at the numbers, the league lost over $40 million. Do you see light at the end of the tunnel? And do you, obviously, because you were around, do you see any similarities to where the W is at this point and where the NBA was in their 27th or 28th year?
I'm trying to step back from it and comprehend what just happened to this league. I wasn't a big Caitlin Clark fan when she was at Iowa, though I got into it a little more in the Final Four and certainly the final game. I found myself captivated watching her. And obviously she brought a lot more white people back to watch the game, but it seemed to all swirl around her. Whatever new popularity, like, I'm not sure she saved it, but she changed the game. And I still can't quite explain why, because I thought she was just a 3-point shooter. And I didn't see this at Iowa, but she's a LeBron-esque passer of the basketball.
Yes.
Okay? So I didn't see that coming. And she led the league by far in assists, but she shattered, obliterated the all-time turnover record. And it wasn't, she did it by 75 turnovers. Because she will try anything at any moment, thread the needle where there's 17 hands in between, and you're not going to get the basketball through, and she tries to get it through. But every once in a while, she'll throw some lead pass like Wes Unseld used to. Kevin Love's good at it, but she'll throw some lead pass, and it's a touchdown, where she'll hit somebody right in the hands for a layup. You'll say, whoa, that's LeBron-esque. She has an effortless distance stroke from the logo where she jump shoots. And a lot of the women before weren't they're set shooters. They're like feet on the floor shooters. But she can actually leave her feet and hold the pose and flick her wrist and get it. And as you guys know, it's a long shot, man.
That ain't easy.
It's not that easy to get the ball to the basket. And she'll make an occasional logo shot where I'll say, that is obviously Steph-like. Yet, she's not a very good, consistent 3-point shooter because her percentage was 33%. It was way down the list of 3-point shooters. Plus, she's high volume, low make. And yet, she completely changed the way that team plays basketball. And I got addicted to watching that team, not just because of her, because of all of them. Because it worked. Now they've fired their coach because I think they're going to bring in a better coach, they think. They're going to get the Connecticut coach, I guess. So my answer to all that, it's a great question, but all I know is I started watching because I was mesmerized by how great she was and how bad she was all at the same time. And it was captivating to my eyes. I don't know. So she became it. She's not very strong. She needs to get a lot stronger, and they're taking the ball away from her. But help me out. Would you watch her? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Kayla.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. I enjoy the W as a whole, and we're working on kind of a little bit of a passion piece, kind of comparing where the W is now compared to where
Okay.
the NBA was then, and almost comparing, not because we still yet to see what these women are going to do, but kind of how Magic and Bird brought some life
They
back
did.
to the game.
No, they did.
How Caitlin and Angel brought some life to the game. How there's a Juju and a MJ were coming down the pipeline with new breath
Correct.
and fresh air in the game.
Agreed.
So I think there's
Yeah.
a handful of similarities to
Oh, yeah.
where they are in their respective times.
Yeah.
Quick hitters, man. This has been amazing. First thing to come to mind, let us know. This is going to get spicy, top 10 NBA players of all time.
Of all time?
All
Man, I wish
time.
you'd warned me and I would have brought my list in. My man Tyler's over here. Maybe he could help me.
Tyler probably remember.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we all can agree on the number one name on that
MJ.
list.
Jeffrey.
Yes. Thank you, Jeffrey. And I've got Magic 2.
Yeah.
And now I wish I had my list. I think I had Shaq 3, Kareem 4, Duncan 5. Okay. Bill Russell, Kobe 7th, Larry 8th, and LeBron is 9th. Okay. And Wilt is 10th.
That's a nice,
There
that's a
you
nice
go.
10.
Thank you, Tyler.
Nice
Any
10.
any Larry Bird stories? Can you give us one?
8.
I'm a huge fan of Larry Bird.
2 quick ones. So I'm at the Final Four, 1979, Salt Lake City. Gil Brandt, then the Cowboys GM, would always run a hospitality suite for the college basketball coaches under the auspices of he's trying to find the next Steven Jackson who can be a tight end for him that can sort of transfer height, speed over into football, allegedly. I think he just wanted to be a power broker, but he would have all the best coaches come through the suite because they weren't all participating in the Final Four. So on Sunday, ahead of the Monday night game, which was going to be Bird Magic, Indiana State, Michigan State, I'm in the hospitality suite, and Gil pulls me aside and he said, listen, I've talked to all the best coaches, the Dean Smiths, the Bobby Knights. They don't believe Larry Bird can play at the next level. I said, seriously? Because I hadn't been able to see, I saw him in the semifinal, but it wasn't enough. I think they played DePaul, Mark Aguirre, who I got to know in Dallas. And he said, yeah, the quote I keep hearing is Larry Bird is too slow-footed to make it in the NBA. So I wrote a piece for Monday morning's Dallas Morning News newspaper in which I said that there are coaches here who don't believe Larry Bird can play. I didn't say it, but I said there are those here because I don't think he was making that up or exaggerating that. They lose, obviously, to Magic and Gregory Kelser, they were just too good for what Larry had at Indiana State. And that was really, really wrong because he could really, really play for 1,000 other reasons than slow feet. Because anticipating steals, he got his hands on a lot of basketballs defensively where slow feet didn't really come into play. And obviously, he's shooting it back behind his head, and it's like Kevin Durant. He's 6'9". You're not going to be able to bother that shot a whole lot. And he was just deadly, especially when it mattered the most, and a great passer. So I'm in Dallas at Reunion Arena. I don't know if you ever played at old Reunion. It's probably before your time. But he came to play and was at a shoot-around. And I just went up to him and apologized to him and said, he didn't care who I was or what I was, but I just apologized to him. So then we fast forward to the 86 All-Star games played in Dallas. And it's the one in which he's in the three-point contest where he shoots the last one and puts his finger up in the air. While it's in the air, I got you. Okay. And I'm told from a Mavericks insider who was in the locker room, and remember, this is 1986. There's only one human who could get away with this. But do you know this story about what he said to his opponents?
I've heard a little bit before it.
Okay.
In the
So
locker
he
room.
walks into the locker room, and it's only how many guys are in the three-point?
Which one of y'all coming in
8,
second?
Okay.
8 or something.
Okay. and all the rest of them are not white. And Larry Bird says to them, this is what I was told, which one of you, and you know that word.
MFers?
Huh?
MFers?
No.
Oh, wow.
No.
Oh,
no,
the
that
word.
The
word.
ugliest word in the history of the human language that
Wow.
I said should be abolished is
Wow.
going to finish second. Which one of you is going to finish
And
second?
then wins that bitch. That's
Okay.
what they say.
Okay. There's only one human, and this is 1986, who could get away
Play
with
with that,
to
yeah.
me, and it's that guy. That's what I was
LB.
told.
Yeah.
But it's that guy.
LB. Whew.
And they already knew what he was because he's winning championships and MVPs. So I think it's Craig Hodges was the best of his opponents. And they're probably just like,
Damn you.
okay.
Fuck you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to Bird's credit, he used to get get mad when white guys guarding him. He said that was an insult.
It's an insult.
He said that was an insult.
Nobody can fuck with him.
Okay.
There you
8
go.
Mile race. You, Braun, Tyreek Hill, and Mookie Betts. Who wins?
Who are the opponents?
You, Braun.
Oh, Braun.
You, Braun, Tyreek Hill, and Mookie Betts.
8?
That's a hell of a question.
8 mile race. I'm going with you.
I think I might beat him by a mile.
Yeah, I'm going with Skip.
Well, I mean,
I love it.
when have any of those humans,
Ran
as
8
gifted
miles.
as they are,
They never
run
ran 8 miles.
3 miles?
Yeah.
Trained for
no,
that. It's a
no.
different
Okay.
mindset.
It's what I do every
Yeah.
day. It wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
And it says nothing about me athletically whatsoever, except I'm in really good shape.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, you
But
are.
athletically, it says 0. But they would have no chance. And
Yeah.
if any of them would,
Right. I
would
believe
like
them
to
too.
do it, if any of them, if they're listening, watching now, let's go.
Hey,
yeah.
I'll be there and bring your wallet.
He ain't hard
please.
to find.
And I'm
goddammit.
betting on Skip.
What makes Skip Bayless happy?
I understand.
My wife does make me very happy.
Yes.
I must admit.
Yes.
And my dog Hazel makes me very happy, as she knows. Our
What
little
kind of dog?
Maltese.
What kind of dog?
Maltese.
Maltese.
Is she 8 now? 8? I think she's 8. But those two keep me right. That they keep me upright. They make me very happy. Tonight is date night, and I'm looking forward to it. And I can say this about my wife, God's truth. Not once in my life with her, and we started in 05. We got married in 16. But so 5, we're almost 20 years together. There's never been one moment with her I've been bored. Not one moment.
Wow.
I do play golf, but I don't play cards with the guys on Wednesday night. I don't go out with the guys on Friday night. I just want to be with her. I'm obsessed with what I do, and it makes me very happy because it's satisfying. But I only look forward to the time with her because every second I have not doing this thing, this microphone, is dedicated to her and to Hazel.
I love that.
And so she does make me very happy whether she believes it or not. And half the time she doesn't.
What games
What
we watching
games?
later for date night?
No, Oklahoma City's at Portland, and we're going to watch them. They are. We're going to watch the Thunder.
Oh,
You like the
shit.
Thunder? Come on.
I love
Right?
it.
Top 3 Jordans to wear.
Oh, God.
You like the ones.
Yeah. I
You're
mean,
a big one guy.
you know what? My top 3
We used to
are
compare
all
shoes when I
this.
was working with, I used to check his drip every day, drip Bayless.
I do like the Concords, the 11s, both high and lows.
Mhm.
And so they would probably be high and low would be my second 2 because they're way beyond all the others
Yeah.
that I
I
have.
like it.
Yeah.
Quickly explain
I'm
the
forced.
relationship
I like
between you and Lil Wayne. And then you guys seem like you guys are really good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves Skip.
Yeah.
That's my boy. He loves Skip.
You know that. He loved our show. This is pre-Stephen A. And I think you helped get him. My wife helped book this, but somehow she connected with his people. And because he was playing a concert in Westchester County outside of New York City,
Mhm.
it was a fairly handy 2-hour bus ride. He was on his tour bus to come to Bristol. And he wanted to come to Bristol and be on First Take. And he came to the pre-show meeting, which started at 7:30 in the morning. I don't think he went to bed.
No.
Right?
Nope.
But they literally pulled their tour bus right up to the door. And we start talking across the table about Steph Curry. And it was before the Steph Blake draft. And everybody at ESPN loved Blake Griffin. And I didn't, because I'm an Oklahoma fan by birth. And so I'd watched Blake for 2 full years at Oklahoma, and he couldn't make a shot from like a foot away, seriously. But he was, as you know, extremely explosively athletic at whatever, 6'10", could jump, to the next county as an explosive dunker. But I don't know, I didn't love him. He reinvented himself as a 3-point shooter and extended his career shooting threes. But I was in awe of little Steph at Davidson, because I said, this is revolutionary. And I kept saying, his handle is way better than people. He can play point guard because he's not a flashy passer, but he's a really good passer with a great handle. So forget just about the shooting. He can run the basketball team. So Wayne is agreeing with me, and no one had agreed with me at ESPN, and we clicked over Steph at Davidson because it's before the draft. And we agreed we would both take Steph number 1 in the draft above Blake. And what did he go, 7 in the draft? Like, come on, really? Okay, so that started it. And then he took me after the show out to the tour bus where he has a recording studio. It's like a bathroom size studio on the bus.
Did you get a contact on the bus? Did you get a contact on the bus?
I think I did. Because I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
And so I'm pretty susceptible to contact.
Yes.
Right? And I was feeling real good.
Yeah.
Real good.
We could reenact that feeling too. We're done.
I'm sure we
Gotta
could.
love skills,
I should
man.
try
You
that
gotta
sometime.
love.
Maybe that would sort of calm me down. But the point is, then we just clicked. I don't know, but it's pure sports. You want to talk about coming from opposite ends of the earth? So it was that when he moved out here 4 years ago, my wife and I would go visit him. I don't know, every couple of months we'd drive out to Hidden Hills out in the valley. And I know people won't believe this, but we would sit and talk. The 3 of us, he would include her because he does love her and is like a big sister. And we would just talk not about sports because she's not the biggest sports fan. We would just talk life stuff, show stuff, I don't know, music stuff, behind the scenes stuff, a little sports. She says,
somehow it worked its way in there.
Yeah, it would work its way in. But we would talk for 4 straight hours with no bathroom breaks, no food and no drink, but occasional puffs, right? Okay. Yeah, okay.
I love it.
But we would sit outside because Ernestine doesn't deal great with the smoke. We just sit out on the back porch and just talk.
Love it.
Okay, so that's how it happened.
And wherever people don't know, wherever Wayne is, he's in the studio normally from like 8 in the evening to like 9 in the morning normally. Whatever he is, basketball, sports is on every TV. There's no shows, it's sports on whatever game is on, ESPN, like that's all he watch. Yeah. All night long. That's why he knows so much about sports.
Oh, he is obsessed. And also brilliant. Like deep brilliant.
Very smart.
My favorite communication with him is text, because we kind of play, can you top this when we're going back and forth? And I would look at the text chains and I would say, damn, this could be a book, seriously. Where
he knows shit.
He knows what he's talking about. And it's like deep.
Yeah. Passionate.
Deep passion.
Yeah.
Of what makes somebody tick, like what's really happening with so-and-so.
Yeah,
so
he didn't see a lot.
You covered Mike Tyson in his prime.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the upcoming fight with him and Paul at Jerry's World?
Where?
Jerry's World.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'll be there too.
Yeah, no, I know. I told him you was coming because otherwise you couldn't come down there.
Y'all
None of y'all. You either J Mac. None of y'all couldn't come. I called him like, Jerry, I'm bringing some 49ers fans from Cali. They cool? He was like, yeah, they cool because it's a boxing match. But if it was a game, y'all couldn't come in.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. Touche.
Skip with the call in too.
The closer we get, the more fascinated I get by it. Because at first I scoffed like everybody else did. And then I start to think, that guy, there's some special guys, who are just special, whatever they're made of. And obviously Mike didn't take care of himself when it was time to take care of, or he could have done whatever he wanted to do. But when he was right he was the baddest on the planet, and arguably the baddest who ever
did it.
walked.
Ooh.
Ever walked. And whatever that quality is still percolating inside there.
There's still residue of that in his blood.
Yes. And
Mhm.
he looks like he's in pretty good shape because I'm in really good shape. And so I look at it and I say, he's 58. Okay. Okay. So at first I thought, there's no way he can beat this kid because this kid's pretty athletic and is a decent boxer.
And he trains hard.
He does. Then I start watching and I don't know what Jake's doing, but he looked like he'd put on a little weight to me. Just paunchy excess weight that he does not need. And I start thinking, is Jake really taking this as seriously as you better take
I
that
motherfucking
man?
hope he is.
I hope he is, or I know they're wearing big old pillowcase gloves, like pillows, but still, Mike could hurt him. If Mike goes like haywire, screwy, like where he calls upon that thing that's locked deep down inside, then he could do some damage.
But that's why I feel scared for Jake, because the best boxers are the ones that can inflict pain, but also mentally in control.
Agreed.
The best was Floyd, Terrence
Yeah.
Crawford, those type of guys. So Mike is more at peace than he's ever been. That's what's scary.
Yeah.
That he's not showing up to the fight. I want to eat your kids. He's showing up to fight. Hi, Jake. That's what's scary. So if you think Mike not showing up going crazy is more frightening than the calm Mike, you better think it's another thing you need to look at about boxing.
Roy told us they were supposed to chill.
I know.
And Mike,
I
and Mike,
saw it.
And
I
Mike
watched it.
unleashed.
He
That's my
unleashed
hope.
on
His
it.
head movement, his powers.
He
That shit
can't help
still
himself.
It's still there, bro.
No, he can't help himself. And at first I thought Mike wasn't taking this very seriously. And then Jake started to insult him, like personal
Disrespect,
shot,
yeah.
insult him. And after a while you could see Mike's eyes and they're going crazy eyes, like good crazy.
But
Like
Mike had time to get his health right. Like, you want to play, Jay? Okay, give me some time to get my health right.
Yeah.
Now I'm finna come knock your ass out.
We shall see.
We
Finish him
shall
up.
see. If you could see one guest on All the Smoke, who would it be?
But
you have to help us get your answer on the show.
Donald Trump.
Ooh,
Nice.
I like that.
Nice.
I would definitely sit down with
Nice.
Donald Trump.
I can't help but
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
It's a good
That's
call. I
one.
like that.
A lot
Okay.
of people want to see that.
I would love
okay.
it. Well, Skip, man, thank you very much. And before we get at it, I just want to thank, like I said, I've always had a lot of respect and been a big fan. And in this process of finding out we were going to get a chance to interview you, I got to dig deep and do my research and kind of find out what you're about and who you're about and hear you out. And it just made me more of a fan of what you do. It was an honor to get a chance to work with you early on, and definitely looking forward to seeing what you do in this next step. As hard as you work, I know you'll be successful, man. So we just really want to, on behalf of both of us, extend our biggest gratitude
And appreciation for opening that door, at Undisputed for us too. That was big for both of
Thank
us
you.
at that time.
Yep.
So we appreciate that.
All that means a lot. I love both of you. She
Same love
knows
back.
this. My wife knows this because of how you fought, because you're both your own men and you believe so passionately and deeply in what was down inside of you that you fought back, and you have true edge to both of you why this is exactly working now. I have deep edge in me because by nature, if you know me at heart, I'm a fighter, I'm a competitor, and I have kindred spirit to what you're achieving on this show. So God bless both
Thank
of you.
you.
Thank you very much.
I remember
Skip.
reading you
Appreciate it.
stopped fighting in high school, though. That's when you gave it up. Skip used to scrap. I was reading on it. He used to scrap. I read about
You
the.
have
I can
no
see
idea.
it though. I
I
can see it
I
though.
read about the
Up-
fifth
up
grade
through-
broken nose and
Hey,
the two black eyes, and you
I-
still went to
I
school the next day.
Took one shot
Yeah.
from Jamie Staley in 5th grade. I took one and my nose was flattened. I
He
did.
remember his name.
I do.
No, he wrote about it. That's how I do
Yeah.
about it. Like I read that piece. It's like
I'll
I love
never
that
forget
shit.
it.
Skip's like in high school. I said, nah.
Yeah,
that's
but it
enough.
was a sucker punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah. That really don't count.
Before we get out of here, we're gonna
We got some gifts for you.
some
From our
merch.
guy Ray.
Oh,
Shout out Ray.
Hey, thank you.
We've launched the fight side of our company,
Yes,
so we
you
got
have.
some All the Smoke fight, some All the Smoke, a shirt.
Look,
And all the smoke
look who's
tour.
looking over there. Look who's looking over there. It's
Yeah,
like
you
that's
gave
gonna be
us-
hers.
And then we're, most proud of, we've teamed up with Simon and Schuster to do our first podcast ever.
Mhm.
Soldier Boy can't say that.
Yeah, so
Coffee-
boy, you ain't got
Coffee
that.
table book. So again, in honor of just your greatness and taking the time with us, we want to make sure we get all this to you. And thank you for being on the show today.
Privilege.
Oh, shit.
Thank you.
Yeah. Give it up, Skip.
Thank you.
Hey, man. Now, where can you catch this episode?
Yeah, man, that's a wrap. Amazing. Had a great time today sitting down with Skip, but you can catch this on All the Smoke Productions YouTube and the DraftKings Network. We'll see y'all next week.
See y'all next week.